Oh, I've got a picture of the alien in my back pocket. Hold on. I forgot about that.
Do you believe there is life on other planets? Then stay with us. Welcome to my channel. My name is Claydia Clock and I am your host. I interview James Fox. He directed this movie Moment of Contact about a case that happened in Brazil in 1996 in a small city called Varginha in the state of Minas Gerais. Many people there said they saw aliens. And James Fox went there and made this amazing documentary. I interview him about Moment of Contact, but much more. We talk about UFOs around the world. And I hope you like this interview. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe my channel. I always have here many interviews in Portuguese and Spanish and English. Enjoy.
I didn't believe this case happened when I heard about it back in 1999, and I was making a documentary on UFOs at the time. I dismissed it so quickly. So I understand your audience is going to have that knee-jerk reaction. This is impossible. This didn't happen. There's no way. Suspend judgment. Listen to the eyewitness testimony. Listen to the military witnesses. Listen to the fire department. Listen to the doctors, and listen to the civilians. All in Brazil, this case happened. This is pretty much my sixth film on the topic of UFOs, and I've managed to develop a relationship and trust with government officials, military and government officials, because I don't make any outlandish claims. I don't say anything that I can't back up with a preponderance of eyewitness testimony. I don't draw any conclusions. However, with Moment of Contact, this is the first time where I'm pushing the envelope to the point where I could be jeopardizing my 30-year reputation as someone who's very grounded in reality, in the phenomenon, with the UFO subject, with the UAP subject. And the reason why I say this is because I heard about this case. I heard about Varginha in 1999, 98 or 99, 98 or 99. I was making a film called Out of the Blue. My fellow partner at the time, who's British, this guy named Tim Coleman, one of the producers on Out of the Blue, he said, we've got to investigate this UFO crash in Varginha, Brazil. Have you heard about it? And I was like, oh God, no. The live aliens, I said, and I dismissed it so quickly, just like that fast. And he was kind of upset with me. It's like, you wouldn't even look into it. I wouldn't ask one question, I wouldn't go talk to one witness, just, that's impossible, it didn't happen. So I know what the mainstream is going to do, thinking about this story, because I know how I felt. But I can assure you, if you can suspend judgment and don't take it from me, and listen to the eyewitness testimony, the first-hand eyewitness testimony on this case, and I think you'll see it through a different lens.
Perfect. And why were you interested in going to Brazil to talk about the story?
I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in this case.
But when you got interested,
okay, so I'll tell you.
Why did you decide to go there?
So in 1998 or 99, I heard about the case, dismissed it that quickly. Not going to even make one. I didn't think about it. 5 seconds later, I wouldn't think about it. Fast forward about 11 or 12 years, I'm going to Brazil for a conference on a film that I did in a place called Peruíbe. And it was, I'd done a film a couple of years earlier called I Know What I Saw. So I think I was going to show some clips and talk about my movie, blah, blah, blah. I get a call from a guy named Jeff Sagansky. You can Google him. He's very high up on the food chain, like former executive at Sony Pictures. He's a fan of mine. He says, James, you're going to Brazil, you got to look into the Varginha case. And I was like, sure, Jeff, I'll look into the Varginha case. Sure, click. I'm not looking into the Varginha case. I'm not doing it. And I got to Peruíbe, and I met some people at a conference that were witnesses to Varginha that, okay, maybe something happened, maybe. I'll go check it out. So I went 4 times, And I spent, the last time was a month. And then I have my dear friend and co-producer Marco Leal, who's been boots on the ground for over 15 years on the case. And now I'm absolutely convinced that a UFO crashed and beings, entities, aliens, whatever you want to call them, survived and were captured in the town of Varginha.
Mm-hmm. And you met the girls, you met the...
I'll say one more thing. Just imagine if it did happen, okay? If a UFO did actually crash in 1996 and live aliens survived and were captured. I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm not asking you to disbelieve. I'm saying just suspend judgment. Just imagine if it happened. How significant of a story would this be?
Amazing. Big.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So just go into it with that mindset.
Mm-hmm. And for you, is there a if?
No. Mm-mm. There was. One thing I didn't tell you is that in 2013 or 2014, I was interviewing a brigadier, Air Force, Brazilian, by the name of José Carlos Pereira. I have photographs of our meeting. He said, I'll talk about UFOs in Brazil, but if you ask me about Varginha, the interview's terminated on camera. It's like, this guy doesn't want to talk about Varginha, you know? So at the end of the interview, Marco Leal, I told you my co-producer, we worked together, a partner, and I pulled this brigadier aside, who's very high up in the Brazilian Air Force, and I said, I promise you there are no cameras rolling, there's no audio gear, there's nothing, just between the two of us, please tell me, you know. And he walks back to his car, he had a driver, and he sits down in the car, and he looks at Marco and I, and he goes, it happened. Click, and off he went. So I knew that was a pretty high level of confirmation, private confirmation, right? That little moment kept me going and kept Marco going.
And change our mind.
Well, it kept us going.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. It's amazing. And
yeah.
Why do you think for governments actually are so important to deny that anything happened?
Because they have no idea what's going on.
If they tell the truth.
They don't have, the Brazilian government, the United States government, they know the phenomenon's real, they know it's under intelligent control, they know there's an intelligence behind it, they know these things. They have craft and bodies. Do they know what their agenda is? Do they know where they're from? What they want? Any of these questions? And you can't reveal what you know without revealing what you don't know. Do you know what I mean? Think about the impact this potentially could have on organized religion or the economy. Who knows, right? So I think government's secrecy is justified, not that I agree with it, it's justified because they are going to open up Pandora's box once they admit what they do know, and they're going to expose their vulnerabilities on all the things that they don't know. And that, my friend, I think is the reason for secrecy.
And do you have an idea where the Varginha...
It went to the United States.
Is he here?
Yes, but I don't know where, and I would like to find out. Yeah.
Okay. And you went to Brazil, you met the girls, you met the family.
Oh yeah.
Too, and the guy in the middle of nowhere to where he saw the UFO.
Mm-hmm.
And how was the emotion for you to be there, to see them talking after 20 something years about that?
What's fascinating about this case is that there are so many witnesses, okay? There's no one witness that can tell you, I saw the UFO crash, I saw the capture of the beings, I saw this or I saw that. There are lots of extremely credible witnesses, including some that remain anonymous, that were at as a military base, doctors that performed x-rays, people that were involved in the capture, just lots and lots and lots of witnesses, and every witness is a little piece of the puzzle. And when you put those pieces of the puzzle together, the overall picture is absolutely fascinating. I think that any viewer is going to come to the same conclusion that it happened. You know, and when you meet witnesses, none of these witnesses came to us. We tracked them down, and it took decades. Marco Leal had met some of the witnesses that came forward in the film 7, 8 years, 9 years earlier, begging them for years to come forward. Years. And the whole thing was just, it was a miracle that we got the people that we got. And it's some of the most compelling testimony I've ever heard on any case I've ever investigated for any film I've ever made is in this one.
And how you can compare the Roswell case with the Varginha case? What the similarities and the differences between both cases?
Well, the difference between Roswell and Varginha is that Varginha happened in 1996. Roswell was 1947, and just about everybody's dead. The luxury that we have with this case is that it's recent enough where people are still around. I mean, you go to the downtown square like we did, and you'd be amazed within an hour and a half how many people had heard something, or their cousin saw something, or their brother or their mother, or they did directly. It's unbelievable. This case it's one of the best cases in the world.
And some people say that in Brazil there is any geological maybe situation that can attract aliens to there. Do you believe in this kind of...
No. That happens all over the world. Yep. All over the world. Australia, Africa, China, Russia. I've been to all those places. This is not, I mean, these things happen, and it's a global phenomenon.
You are not alone here in this planet.
Well, don't take it from me. Listen to what government officials in the United States alone are telling us. They're saying the phenomenon is real. It's not us. And we don't think it's Russia or China. So it's in the category of other.
And do you think, probably the Brazilian government has some pictures?
Oh yeah, oh no question.
X-ray, they tell
oh yeah.
X-ray.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's everything closed.
We'll see what happens.
And you almost got shot there for a guy.
I did.
How was that?
I understand that he was threatened not to talk about it, and I feel for him, Eric Lopes, a lot, and I respect his position tremendously. I have seen a lot of witnesses, and I've looked a lot of witnesses in the eye. Eric Lopes had something different that he's been carrying on his shoulders for 26 years, and I could see it in his face. And it was like, I've never seen anything quite like it. I think that he did exactly what he needed to do to not violate, I guess, whatever oath he gave, that he was never going to talk about it, because all he had to do was come out publicly and say, you know what, all these rumors you guys are all talking about it didn't happen. But he doesn't do that. And what's the first thing he says when we rolled up? If you're going to talk about the ET, I'm not going to say anything. It's like, we didn't even say that. So I fully respect his opinion, and if Eric Lopes ever sees this interview, I want him to know that I'm sorry, but we tried everything else. Every other possible scenario for getting him on camera had been tried and exhausted and failed. So we went to his house to try to get a statement. And I just have to say, I understand the reluctance to come forward. People are scared, I get it. But this story is much more important than just one person. You know? Think about the implications. Think about the impact that this could have. I mean, it's a big story.
How long did you stay there? How long it takes to do this?
Well, it was 12 years. I've been going back and forth for 12 years.
Four times.
Yeah, but Marco Marco was on the ground all the time. Marco Leal, he's a fellow producer, and could not have done this movie without him. Impossible.
And what do you think is the biggest thing that you discovered there during this time?
The people that drove this thing around. The people that drove this thing around. Yeah. Yep.
And do you think did you feel that they talk about this case every time there, all the time?
That the amount of negotiations that went on to get that one military X on camera, was astonishing. People have been trying for 26 years, and we had a very narrow window. And, these people were, at the end of it, they would say, even though we're filming the backs of their heads, they say, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've been shouldering this burden for 26 years, and I feel so much better that I got to share one little piece of the puzzle of my involvement with this operation. Could you imagine if it happened and you were involved and you couldn't talk about it? You couldn't tell your family or your husband or your daughter. Just imagine if that were the case, what that would be like to walk around with for all those years. You know what I mean?
And it's hard because the girls also told you that for them are very difficult because many people...
Laughing, making fun of them, of course.
Yeah.
The government explanation of that little midget thing, it's no comment on that. I'm not even going to bother giving that any comment because it's the most absurd. Anyone who listens to the testimony of the first-hand eyewitnesses is going to laugh that comment, that official explanation right out the door. It's a joke, and that's not what it was.
When they say that it was about the guy that lived
Complete, total garbage. Absolute garbage. And they know it. Just get enough people off their backs, but they know it. Yeah.
And they said that there were 2 aliens or only one?
2 beings, 2 creatures.
2 beings.
Yeah. Possibly more, but 2 confirmed, very solid eyewitness testimony of 2 captures. Yes. Mm-hmm. One by the fire department and one by Marco Treisi and Eric Lopes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And one UFO.
Well, that UFO was over where the girls had sighted the creatures and where the capture took place, okay? So that UFO, according to all the witnesses, and we have an entire family that saw it, was looking for something. Sounds more to me like a rescue operation to me. But it was looking for something. I said, how do you know it was looking for something? He said, I watched it for 15 minutes. We all did, the entire family, because it was doing this search over the area where the girls had seen the creature and where Marco Treisi and Eric Lopes captured it.
And any tip from where this guy came from?
Absolutely no idea. 0. I don't think anybody knows.
This is a big mystery.
Big mystery. It's a big universe.
Mm-hmm. And you also saw there, you talked to people that confirmed that one guy that took these beings died also.
Yes.
For sure, for this reason.
Yeah, we interviewed the doctor who worked on him. Yeah, Cesario. Mm-hmm. And Cesario said in his 25 years prior, 20-something plus years after, he's never seen anything like it. He gave him antibiotics. Nothing was reacting. His immune system failed, and he died. 23 years old, perfectly healthy. In fact, Marta, his sister, told us, it's the first time I've heard this, that the Brazilian authorities went to his mother and said, this happened, it's true. However, we are covering it up because it would cause society to collapse if the truth came out. That's what she told me the mother was told by the Brazilian authorities, which wouldn't surprise me.
And how do you think people in Brazil will react watching this movie? Because, as these girls told you, in Brazil, many people talk about this case as a joke.
Yeah. Well, I'd say to the Brazilian people, I completely understand exactly how you feel because I felt exactly the same way you do. In fact, I make documentaries on the topic. So for me to dismiss it that quick, when I believe in UFOs, I completely respect and understand your position of being highly dubious that this event happened. But all I can say is, just listen to the testimony of the people that were there.
Got a lot of things here. I don't know if there is something else that I didn't ask you and you think it's important to tell about the story.
Oh, I've got a picture of the alien in my back pocket. Hold on. I forgot about that. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. Come on. Yeah, you don't want. You know what does it matter?
Oh, please, I admit here.